All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Bean Apple. This is going to be a division recap and preview show. We had two crazy last second wins last night we're going to discuss.
hmm
Got a special guest from the 49ers come on, talk to us about his reaction to what that game was and what he sees going forward. Then again, move forward to today's games, break down exactly what we've got coming up and who's moving on to take on the 49ers or the Bengals for a chance to go to the
hmm
Super Bowl. So, without further ado, we will see if John shows up. Don't know where he
hmm
is, but hopefully he's alive. If anybody does have him, please untie him and direct him to his phone so he could join us. But it will be me and Jim, and we'll see what happens. And then I'd like to bring in Jeremiah now, and let's talk about some 49ers. So
Let's do it.
there he
Yeah.
is. What's up, man? Welcome.
49ers. What a game. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I don't know if you got. I mean, it's obviously before most of our times, but back in the 79-80 season, the Browns were called the cardiac kids. Man, it's how this entire season's been. It's one roller coaster after another. And just when you think they're out of it, they're back in it. So it's been pretty crazy.
hmm
That was a wild game.
It was. I mean, I wasn't expecting, especially after the opening drive, right? I mean, Adams was open. Rodgers can put the ball anywhere he wants. Adams picking up the ball off the ground. I mean, some great throws. And after that, I thought, okay, this is how it's going to be all day, right? I mean, but then good for San Fran to kind of take Adams out of the game and get some pressure on Rodgers. And, after that, it was a lot of 3-and-outs and not much happening. So San Fran really made some adjustments and got him in a position to win.
Yeah, I think that's kind of been the case with the defense all year, right? So D'Amico Ryan's first year as a defensive coordinator. One of the big things was how is he going to pick up for Robert Saleh, especially after Saleh got the job, right? So knowing that he got the job with the Jets
Yeah, thanks
worked
for
out
that.
real well for you this year. Based off of how 2020 went, right? The defense was down a little bit, but the offense was kind of a hot mess. So I think he definitely earned that job. But when you can see this team go through adversity and nothing drop off with D'Amico taking over in his first year and being able to make adjustments, sometimes on the fly, sometimes at half, right? Has been super awesome to watch. And I think if he's not a legitimate head coach candidate after this year, I don't know what people are thinking.
I think you kind of want to hope that he's not, because
Absolutely.
losing
sure.
back-to-back defensive coordinators would be tough to
Yeah,
bounce
that's
back
tough.
from.
I mean, there's talk with Mike McDaniel taking interviews too. So back-to-back O and back-to-back D coordinators sounds like a terrible plan.
Oh, yeah, that's not going to be very fun. So
No.
yeah, so one of the things we were talking about on here is last week is what happens now with the whole Jimmy G Trey Lance thing, right? Like if Jimmy G keeps winning, takes you to a Super Bowl and wins the
Oh,
Super
come on.
Bowl.
Let's not get crazy. Right?
We're in
What are
the
we talking
championship
about?
game now. I mean, right? So it's
I know.
he's won two. If he wins two more games, I mean,
Yeah, it's not far away.
what does the future of the 49ers look like at quarterback to you?
Yeah, so I saw you guys talking about it last week, and just someone from the Bay Area, I have to correct you guys. You got to stop calling it San Fran. So in the area, we call it the Bay, or the city, or we call it San Francisco. But like you always hear the debates about people from outside the area calling it San Fran or SF or whatever. It's
Mhm.
the city, or we just call them the Niners. So I got to
Yeah.
give you guys that jab. I know you're going to keep using it, but don't feel bad.
The
Yeah.
city.
So what does it look
It
like?
just it
Right?
rolls
So
off the tongue. It's so easy
it
to
does.
just San Fran, right? I mean,
Yeah, getting two syllables out instead of having to throw a bunch out there totally makes sense.
Francisco.
No, but
Yeah.
but what does that look like with Garoppolo? Who knows, right? There was plenty of opportunities in the season for Shanahan to move away from him, and he never did. So I don't
Yeah.
know if it's a total lack of trust in Lance, or if it's just he felt that Lance needed time to develop. Obviously, we saw some stuff from Lance, not great in some spots, did pretty well in some spots for a young dude. And then he'll have a full offseason to kind of go after it. So the two things that make me think that he can't be with the team this next year, Garoppolo, is the money, right? I mean, he's going to go from, I think, like it'll be around 26, $27 million. And they got to extend Debo. They got to start looking at extending Bosa. I mean, it's getting pretty close on some of that stuff.
yeah.
And then the fact that, do you really want this hanging over your team for another season? I think we got pretty lucky that it wasn't a distractor this season too much, but after 2 years, there's no way it's not going to be.
Right.
And I think, right, if he plays well and he wins the Super Bowl, you recoup one of those first round picks that you traded for Trey Lance. Hope right, maybe. I mean, maybe you get a second rounder if he gets that high. But I mean, right now his trade value is only increasing, even though he's not doing a ton in the playoffs. But if you looked at it in the middle of the year, you're looking at like a 6th or 7th round draft pick for him. So right now he's just playing it to get his draft picks is what we hope.
That's interesting, but the shoes that kid's going to have to fill coming in though to replace him if you get that Super Bowl W, even a Super Bowl appearance, and then Trey Lance has got to take that team over next year. Whew. I mean, good luck, kid. You know what I mean? Especially with the
yeah, for sure.
Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, I mean it's different though. I think if Garoppolo would have went out and had a great game yesterday, then that conversation's difficult, right? Because to me, they didn't win because of Garoppolo yesterday, right? He was behind in some balls. He didn't lead the team yesterday to win. I mean, special teams made a big play, and you guys ended up winning the game because Green Bay kind of fell asleep on special teams there at the end. But to me, Debo is your main guy. I mean, whatever Debo wants, you give him. He should be in every play on offense. No, I don't care what you do with him. End arounds, whatever. I mean, the guy is a beast.
Yeah. Quarterback, running back.
Yeah, to me,
receiver,
I don't.
whatever.
It wasn't Garoppolo.
Special
Right,
teams.
put him at everything. Let him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll do everything. Right, run back kicks. I saw him. Right after halftime, I think he ran it back to almost half 45-yard line. I think on a return. Yeah. So to me, I think Garoppolo really needs to show more next week that he is the leader. He is the future. Otherwise, if he just has another so-so game, then I think the conversation is more difficult to decide what they're going to do next year, no matter where they end up, this year.
Yeah, agreed. But what I would say too is he's absolutely proven that he's a leader. Like, I don't think the leadership qualities, if you talk to anybody inside the organization, that's what he is. It's the player on the field that's the primary concern. Because you can look at those throws yesterday, right? So any throw outside the numbers more than 5 yards deep, and it was a floater. There was probably at least 4 throws that he had there that you're like, oh, this is a pick six, right? And why I was talking about the cardiac boys, like you're like, oh my God, as soon as he throws the ball, knowing that there's going to be a defender right there ready to snatch it away. But yeah, to your point with Debo, man, like you got to give him the farm, man, like whatever he asks. What sucks too, right, is Debo played a relatively healthy year. But the Niners have been known to throw money at dudes that historically can't stay healthy. Jason Verrett this year is a prime example, right? Not being able to count on him after you paid him thinking that you could. So is it a franchise deal? I don't know. Is it Parag Maranth is amazing at contracts, so I'm sure he'll find some way to work it team friendly and still pay Debo a lot of money.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, they're going to have to. So next week, we'll see who they play. And I was really surprised. I really wasn't thinking they would go into Lambeau and win that game, but hey, they pulled it out. Right? You played to the end.
Aaron
right?
Rodgers
We played all the time.
For sure. I was going to say Aaron Rodgers continuing his 20 years of futility after a Super Bowl win, so
Right.
Gotta love it.
What I really liked too is that somebody posted that after he was drafted and the 49ers passed on him, and he made the comment of they're going to regret that, and he's now 0 for 4 against the 49ers in the playoffs. So I thought that was pretty epic. That but I mean, this is the Packers. I mean, I think we talked about this going into the years. What is Aaron Rodgers' real value? Because he chokes. He's got 1 Super Bowl appearance and win, and that's it. This is now the sixth straight. No, he didn't even make it the championship. So he has lost 5 championship games and didn't even make it again this year. And not to pour salt on anything, but I mean, it's a game that he should have won. I mean, I'm not trying to dampen your mood, but nobody had the 49ers winning this game. I mean, it was one of those games that he should have been able to win at home with, arguably a better team, not a better defense, but the offense, I think you clearly say goes to the Packers. I mean, the 49ers have the better defense, and that's what won the game. I would say most of all, but Aaron Rodgers, when it comes down to it, he's great during the season, but when it's crunch time, he can't do it. And he's got great running back, great wide receiver, and you can't put it together when it counts. I don't know, man. Like, where? It's another great question for what happens from here, but I don't. And it's just a very, very tough thing.
Yeah, that is a great point. Special
Yeah.
teams won that game and lost that game, right? So the Niners were, I think, at the end of the year, ranked 29th in special teams. Packers are ranked 32nd. I think the thing with Rodgers is there's always some missing component, right? He's never had a complete team, in my view, and also where he plays. So if they're oftentimes the number one seed, so they're
I
getting a
agree.
home game in Lambeau, like why the hell do you want to play in Lambeau in the wintertime? You know, if I think, right, if they had less home games and they were playing on the road more, they would probably have a better chance to win in some of these games because they're not playing in the elements of Lambeau.
Yeah, that might be true as well. But then the Niners, right? Is that what you said? The Niners? Is that what we're allowed to call them?
Yes, that's what you're supposed to call them.
Yeah, the Niners. Okay. They went into the elements.
The Bay team.
They went into the elements, and
Yeah, I mean they're the only one now since Vegas is gone. Sorry, Joe. Sorry,
that
Joe,
is true. So they could be the Bay team, but yeah, they went into Green Bay's elements and won the game. Like that's not Niner elements, and they still went in and took care of it. And the Packers live there every day. Like they even said, like this is what they're used to. Like no players. I think it was Troy Aikman was saying like no players like playing in the cold, but it gives the players an advantage that live in the cold over the ones that are visiting. Like it's.
Yep.
It was really
no. Your feet are frozen. The ground is frozen. You can't feel your hands. They put up some quotes that guys were talking about, right? When you can't feel your hands and you can't feel your feet, that's when you find out who wants to play football, right? Those are the guys. But I can't imagine. I mean, you saw Debo limp off. You saw Dylan go down. I mean, there was some hard shots. It's like landing on concrete. I mean, it cannot be easy. And still, half the guys are sleeveless, right? They're out there like we don't care. We'll get frostbite on our arms. We're here to deal with it, right? And we don't care.
I don't understand that, but that's another thing. But
no wraps, nothing. I mean,
right.
But
I think, for sure. And to that point too, it's not like Green Bay didn't play a pretty solid game, right? Like I think look at the elements that affected both teams, and they had at least winning one significant phase of the game in the defense, right? Enough, I think, on offense to get the game done, and then their special teams just let them down. Which has been their Achilles heel. So I think the Niners are in the same boat, right, with Richard Hightower. So it'll be interesting to see who survives on the staff for both of these teams after the season's over.
Yeah. Yep. So overall, I know you were talking about the cardiac
kids.
Is how you felt last night. But what do you think going forward for this team? What do you see? I know we were talking a little bit yesterday. You were a little concerned about Debo's injury, and if that's going to linger forward or be anything more than just a little shakeup type of thing. But what do you think? I mean, you're going to the division round. You're taking on either the Rams or Tampa. Either right down the road in LA or you're flying cross country. But I mean, what do you think going forward? What happens next week?
I mean, I think there's pluses and minuses to both teams, right? So let's start with the Rams because it's familiar for the Niners. They own them. So in the Sean McVay era, they own the Rams, which is interesting to think because the Rams are a very good team, and they don't necessarily match up well in some ways, right? So they have explosive wide receivers. The Niners DBs have been frightening all year. Like when we found out yesterday that Ambry Thomas was out and we're gonna have to start Dante Johnson and potentially I just blanked on his dang name. Josh Norman. I was like, oh God, we're losing this game because Devontae's going to line up on him and throw all day on him, right?
Yeah.
And if you look at the last game, Cooper Kupp, he ate. So it's a frightening team, but we find ways to limit them when we need to. We find ways to limit, Aaron Donald in the middle. So I think we match up pretty well. And like we said, we travel really well with SoFi because it's super easy to get down there. But then the Bucks. You never know, right? They're reeling too on their offense. Their offense, which was just full of playmakers, has dwindled down to where it's now Mike Evans. You're getting Leonard Fournette back, which is great. You still got Rob Gronkowski, but you never know what that health is going to look like, especially for a dude coming back off of the injury list. But their defense is scary. I mean, they got probably one of the best linebacking cores in the NFL. Their defensive line scary, but their defense, I think, not necessarily in schematically, but in matchups, plays fairly similar to the Rams. So I think we can, match up well there on offense. But yeah, man, there was somebody was talking about it yesterday on a podcast that I was listening to where they said, how awesome would it be to go in and christen SoFi for the 49ers, right? Where every time you come in there, the Niners are just like, hey man, like we found a way to go into your stadium and we won, for your NFC championship. So, you could pretend that something's playing in the background. Is that you guys or me?
That's you.
Yeah,
But yeah,
that's all right. It's really low. I don't
sorry
know what
about
it
that.
is.
I don't either.
Oh.
I don't have anything playing with speakers hooked up.
Right now, your camera's off.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. I'm trying to see if there's something playing in the background here, but I don't. Oh, there, it's gone now.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, fellas.
Probably an
Nope,
ad,
there
an
it
ad
is.
popped up or something.
Yeah. Trust me, that's a
Yeah,
fun
it must be.
distraction because it always waits till you're talking and then the ads start playing on
Yeah,
like,
if you want to
your,
mute me real quick.
yeah, on your stat pages and whatnot. That
that's
happens.
great.
That happens to
Yep.
me all the time. It's always a fun thing to deal
It's a
Yeah,
Geico ad who isn't a sponsor yet. So
with. Yeah.
there you go. Look at that. I heard that little tone.
Which I do. They should reach out and sponsor us because, well, I guess it'd be kind of hard to do with us being most of us being military, but it should be a USAA thing. So USAA, if you're watching, jump in here, get rid of Gronk, bring in the real talent. So,
There
yeah.
you
So
go.
quick. So let's see. Did you get it fixed? Are you good?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I have no idea what it was, but should be good to go now. There was
yeah, you just
nothing
put some
open on
weird
any of my
ad in.
tabs. Sorry,
That's
sorry,
always
man. I
fun.
apologize for that.
Yeah. All right. So moving forward,
No, don't worry, don't worry.
christening SoFi Stadium. Go ahead and finish up your thought.
Yeah, so like every time we go in there, right? Even if they're they break the streak and they beat us at some point, we can say that hey, we've gone to SoFi and we won the Super Bowl there, right? Like you haven't done that yet. It would just be a great feather in the cap for a season where the Niners more often than not look like they were out of it, but found a way to claw. So it's hard to count them out when you've seen them see so much adversity and be able to overcome it. So, but either one of those opponents is going to be tough. So it's not like it's going to be a walk in the park, especially if Jimmy Garoppolo keeps sailing those passes as he always does.
Yeah, you're definitely going to need that
That's
running
right.
game to get on point and
For sure.
start handling
Yes.
taking a lot more weight. Can't just be Samuel, but Mitchell's looked good. I don't know. I mean, you got so many running backs there too. That's another thing is, I don't know if Trey Sermon is healthy or if he's done for the season, but because I haven't seen him. I know he was on IR for a little bit, but I don't know if he's out for the year. And then I can't remember now. I just forgot who the other
Jeff
the other
Wilson.
running
Jeff
back?
Wilson went out last
Jeff
game.
Wilson
so,
Jr. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've
Yeah.
got,
So
you've
Jeff
got
Wilson, we'll have to see what his injury is, but I think it'll probably be Trey Sermon. He's been a healthy scratch for the last few games, but
right.
if Wilson can't go, then I don't know how else it's going to be anybody but Trey Sermon because obviously Mostert's been out the entire year.
Right. And which, I mean, Trey Sermon is somebody
Man,
that I
to me,
thought
all
was
you
gonna
got
be
to
really
do. Yeah, to me, all you got to do is after I saw it on yesterday's game, have number 71 in motion and Williams and come across and just blow out the D-back that's there trying to take out the running back. That was incredible. I saw that first play. I said, man, I would run that every play until I could stop it. Yeah.
Yeah, they tried again, but then it looked like I think it was Debo or was it Mitchell on that one that cut back in the wrong direction. So instead of following Trent Williams, and I don't know if it was design misdirection, but yeah, if they'd have just followed him, he'd have picked up that first down. But so that'll be a key injury to look at too. Was Williams' right ankle ended up getting taped. You saw him limping around most of the game, but he seemed to be walking okay at the end. Obviously, victory and adrenaline kind of heals most wounds, but we'll see what it looks like on the field next week.
Right. Once those muscles cool off and stiffen up, and
for sure,
you really know. So cool. All right. So, what's your prediction for next week?
I mean, it kind of
Before you
depends
go.
on who it's going to be, right? I think if it's the Rams, I think we squeak one out. I would go probably 24-21. I think it'll be a much higher scoring game than it has been. If it's the Bucks, man, you never know. I think because of the unfamiliarity and the way our defense is played, especially if we get Ambry Thomas back, I think it'll be a much lower scoring, but probably tighter game, like a 21-20. But I'm going to stick with the Niners, man. Until one of those teams show me something in this next game, you got to keep going with the home team. My home team, obviously, not the home team. But
yeah. All right. So this game today, Bucks at Rams. Who do you have winning?
I don't know, dude.
Give us your preview. Your preview predictions.
I kind of have to go Rams. I think just because I know that the Bucks are the number 2 seed, but the Rams, have, aside from the Niners, kind of come on towards the end of the season a little bit. and they just
Okay.
have so many weapons. Like, how do you stop everybody? I think
Yeah.
their running game is a little suspect. Cam Akers was kind of coming on again until they played us, but it's hard to count them out. I don't know what the Bucs running game is going to look like, and I don't think Gronk and Mike Evans are going to do enough to take that game over from their defense. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the Rams, but I think again they're susceptible to some stuff. So I think it'll probably be a win by a field goal, kind of 23-20, 24-21 style game.
Interesting. Okay, and then to close it out, Bills at Chiefs. Who do you got going on in the championship game?
Hard to count out the Chiefs. The Bills played one of the most perfect games I've ever seen in my life last week. Is it sustainable? I don't know. Dude, this one's a hard one, right? How do you count out the Chiefs? How do you count out the Bills? I would like to see the Bills go. Obviously, I think both teams match up poorly to the Niners. It would be great to go and beat Kansas City in a Super Bowl, but the Bills right now are fantastic. They've figured out their run game, it seems like, so it's hard for me to count them out, but I think that would be a high-scoring game. I mean, you're looking at probably, again, last-minute kind of thing, 28-27. I wouldn't give it much of a spread. If they get in the 30s, then stuff's really gotten out of control.
Let's hope so. So you're going Bills and Rams.
I'm going Bills. I'm going Bills, yep.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you for taking a few minutes, coming and chatting with us. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks for having me. Sorry for the malfunction with spitting stuff out of the speakers, but
it's expected.
Don't worry.
Yeah. Great show, guys.
Right.
Thanks for having me out.
Have a good night, or have a good
Thank
day.
you.
I should say. Later.
Good luck.
All right.
Yeah.
So,
Good.
yep, that was good. Good interview. Thank you again for Jeremiah for jumping on with us and talking to 49ers perspective, which is great. And like I said, like we talked about, that was a great crazy win. So, talk about crazy wins as well, though. We've got to talk about the Bengals and Titans game, and what a game that one was, man. That rookie kicker, McPherson. I mean, is this like the new Justin Tucker in the NFL? The kid doesn't miss. It's just insane.
Good for him. Good for
him.
him to handle the pressure and make the kicks when he had to do it. And that's his job, right? He's doing his job. That's what he's supposed to do. Didn't let the pressure get to him. Just execute and kick the ball through the uprights, and that's it. I mean, and then you're a hero, right? You do your job, you're a hero.
He was, and they even tried to ice him at the end. Calling the timeout just to get in his head. And I mean, that ball, man, the second it came off his foot, I was like, that's it. They want. I mean, there was that thing was dead pinpoint center the entire way. Didn't wobble, didn't curve, nothing. Just boom, straight through. And that thing probably would have been good from 70. It went, I don't know if you saw how high it went through, and that was still a 50-yard field goal, and it cleared.
Right.
He could have set the record with that kick.
He was trying to kick it to Cincinnati.
Whatever bar that the coach is giving out the game ball to is where it was supposed to land, I think. But man, just incredible. But on top of that, man, Jamar Chase is just. You talk about rookies coming in 5 for 109, and that one, you can't catch him. The dude's so fast, he's so big, he's so powerful. It's man, what an absolute beast of a player that guy is. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah, it was. I mean, and good for Burrow. I mean, he gets sacked 9 times, right? And the young team and still hold it together and hang in there. And I was rooting for him. I thought maybe Justin would be on today, but to kind of talk about his team
I would.
Yeah, I mean, come on, this is it. What else are you waiting for? I mean, it's been your whole lifetime you haven't seen this.
Right. 1980, first AFC Championship appearance since 1988 for them.
I mean, come on. So yeah, that's just incredible. But
yeah,
good for the Bengals. I was hoping they would do it. I was surprised at the end of the game with Tannehill kind of trying to force that ball in there. I mean, he throws it into there's like 6 Bengals there and maybe 2 Titans. Fires it in there, gets tipped, and I think Eli Apple was involved in that one. And
that stung for you a little bit, huh?
Yeah, ex-Giant.
Finally, he shows up.
Yeah. Even the pass earlier in the game, I forget the player tipped the ball up in the air, caught it himself, and ran it down into maybe into the red zone. And I thought the Bengals played a good game, and good for them. I was hoping they would beat them. It was tough with Henry coming back, but I'm happy to see the Bengals advance.
Yeah, no, that was a great game. But that was one of the things we talked about during the draft was them picking Jamar Chase over Penei Sewell.
Yeah.
And every time Joe Burrow got hit, I was just like, oh no, get up,
See?
get up, get up. I mean, it was just sack after sack after sack. And I mean, yeah, you're talking a game with 9 sacks, and the defenses are only going to get harder. I mean, you're not getting easier games after this, right? So,
Yeah.
God, I hope he could
Tana-
just stay.
Tana
I hope he
choke.
could stay healthy at this point. Like
Yeah.
he goes down, that's it. This run is over. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
they got to find a way to protect him, whether it's
That's right.
throwing extra tight ends in there to help block or what. But he can't be getting sacked 10 times a game. It's just not with a
Right.
completely repaired knee from last year. Like you got to
That's
find a
right.
way to give this guy a little bit of protection, a little bit of time to get the ball to these playmakers because they're
Yeah.
money. They really
Yeah,
are.
I mean,
So
they have a nice offense. They got a running back. They got nice receivers, nice tight end. You know, the defense has been playing better. Now you just secure up that line a little bit and protect them. They could have a team that's playoff bound for the next 4 or 5 years.
yeah,
You know, because they're a young team, right? So everything could change that division for them now. But yeah, Shaney, a Tana choke, and yeah, Brady. I mean, so and we're not talking about the Rams game yet, right? Or are we?
no, not yet. Still wrapping this one up,
'Cause,
but
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I do wish John was here because he would be reveling in Tannehill's 3 interception,
Oh, yeah.
10 QBR performance that he
Yeah.
put up in this game. Just
Two
absolutely
tip balls, but still, he,
Yeah.
you know, he
Not
probably
throwing
threw him
good
where he
spots,
shouldn't
though.
have. Right.
Yeah.
No.
right. So, and I mean, his receivers, AJ Brown is absolutely legit, and quietly under the radar is one of the best wide receivers in football. I don't know how he slides like by a lot of the other guys, but I mean, 5 for 142 and a touchdown on 9 targets. I mean, just the dude's money. He's very, very hard to compete with. Really good. Julio Jones does still play football, which was good to see, but 6
Yeah.
for 62.
Yeah.
So not bad overall, but like we talked about, he was not worth jumping through all
Right.
the
They
hoops.
thought he was going to put them over the hump and get him in, and he was out a bunch and hamstring.
It's exactly what he
still.
is every year.
And yeah, you know, you're not going to get much.
He's always hurt. He's on the downside of his career, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
you would have been better off spending that draft pick somewhere else, most likely.
Mm-hmm.
But congratulations to the Bengals. That was an incredible game by them. Their rookies and that's what you said. Like you pointed that out perfectly. Like the rookies and the youth of this team is going to keep them relevant for a very long time. And it's
Yeah.
also going to make people want to go to Cincinnati and play,
That's right.
which
That's right.
helps out with that sustainability of putting a competitive team year in and year out because you're not overpaying to get a couple of players. You're actually underpaying or paying fair market value to bring guys in, which is huge.
Yeah. I mean, you look at that division, right? Pittsburgh, okay, Ben's gone. Who knows what their quarterback is for a while
Down
now.
arrow for
Cleveland,
Steelers.
nothing's happening with Cleveland. The Ravens, you know, yeah. So it's to me the Ravens and the Bengals, right? And who's
Yeah.
healthy? Which quarterback can stay up? And you know, is Lamar's ankle going to be a problem going forward or what? But yeah, it's going to be a 2-team race now, and it should be like that for a little while.
Yeah, because the Browns are about to go into another difficult quarterback
Oh, yeah.
situation where they have to decide what are we doing with
Yeah.
Baker. So that's going to be the continuous Bengals Brown cycle will just
That's
keep
right.
going. It looked like it was
Yep.
about to break through, but it looks like it hit
Yeah.
the ceiling and bounced back down.
Right.
So
I think somebody picked them to win the Super Bowl here. Let me look at my notes.
I did make a crazy statement like that.
Yes.
I'll own
See,
that
I
one.
remember.
Hey, they had the talent to do it at one point. I mean, I don't know. You look at that team overall, it looked like it should be able to compete. It really does. And then,
Yeah,
but yeah,
it should,
I mean,
but-
I got cute and I made a pick that didn't make any sense. So
Then you
I got
bet
two-
them and you lose your money. That's what happens.
yeah, I got too cute. I got to stop getting cute.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk Rams Bucks for today.
Yeah.
So like Shaney said there in his comment, he kind of pointed out exactly why they might lose this game as well, though. So
Yeah.
I mean, Brady hasn't looked tremendous. Now there's even talk of him retiring after this.
Yeah,
this
I
season.
saw that.
I mean, age is kind of catching up. So, thank you, Travis. Appreciate that. Yeah, but yeah, from what they're saying, age is kind of starting to take its toll on him. He might be slowing down a little bit. And we've seen the last half of this season, the plays haven't been as crisp. The throws haven't been on point every time. Just kind of slowly slipping, I guess. You know what I mean? But it's still the playoffs. It's still Tom Brady. So you can't really cash that in until you see it, right?
I mean, he just finds winners find ways to win, right? And that's what he's been able to do. So even when he doesn't have some of his key weapons in there, he uses other guys. He finds Scotty Miller. He finds guys to put the ball right on him, and they make things happen. So it is hard, but I think just like Wirfs and Jensen on that line, Jensen, when he got hurt last week, I think it was, limped off. I thought he was done for the game. I did not think he'd be back in the game. He comes right back. That kid is a fighter and wants to play, but he's questionable. And then Wirfs was the same thing with right tackle, where he was injured, tried to go back in, was getting beat left and right. He wanted to play, but he was a liability at that point. So keep him in. So I think the line. I mean, if Donald and Miller on the other side can get through those guys, Brady's going to have a hard time. I mean, that's I think one of the keys to this game is, can they get through the line, and can Jensen them hold them back? Otherwise, I could see Brady getting hit a lot today. He's going to try and get the ball, get rid of the ball even quicker than normal.
Right.
But and Fournette's back in today. Right. So they got Fournette in, and Jones is out.
Right. But you can't run the ball if you can't stop the defensive line from coming through. So I mean, that's a great point, and I would think that McVay is going to be smart enough to try to take advantage of that, right? Like he knows the injuries, he knows where it's hurt. Put Aaron Donald in front of him and let Aaron Donald start pushing him around till that ankle gives away again, or he gets beat enough that they have to double cover. Shift the weight to one side of the line or the other, open up holes somewhere else and whatnot. But this should be a punch out type of game, though. In reality, it's two high powered offenses. Cooper Kupp is he's something special. I mean, just absolute special receiver. You still have Mike Evans that does it week in and week out on the other side there. Gronk comes alive in the playoffs as well, so that's going to be a huge key for them. But I mean, this is one of those games that if it's 35 to 35-31, 40-37 type of game, like not going to be surprised at all. I hope it's a little more than 19-16 or 13-10 like it was yesterday. Like a lot of those games until the very end of the game they were not exciting at all to watch. Very, a lot of 3 and outs, a lot of mistakes. So really want to see in the playoffs, you want to see those high scoring, memorable games. So, and I think both of these games have the potential to really do that.
Yeah, at this game, you could see it going. It could be 38-38, and a winner kicks the field goal at the end, 41-38. I mean, I could see a game like that taking the over, and Jeremiah's right? It all depends on how the run game goes. If they can get the run game going and then let Brady have a little time to do a little play action and stuff like that. But, I think to myself, what if Woods didn't get hurt this year? And they had Woods and Kupp and Odell. I mean, come on. I mean, that trio would have been unstoppable. I mean, it's same week they got hurt, or same day that they got Odell, Woods went down. But, it's a shame. But I still, Stafford, I know my brother roots for him too. And, he's always been a hard luck guy in Detroit. I don't know. I mean, you look at him versus Brady. I'm not taking Stafford. Right, I'm just not going to do it. I mean, you can't do it. So
he has no playoff
Ken
experience.
Stafford, Ken Stafford come up and get win number 2, playoff win number 2, I should say, and move them forward. I mean, I think it's going to hinge on him, his performance today. Can he rise up and play at that level?
Yeah.
And
that's a great point.
Yeah, I don't know if he can. I'll know when he shows me he can. Right?
Yeah,
he hasn't really shown me yet.
You'll know in about 4 or 5 hours.
That's right.
If you're right or wrong. But I do think that is the absolute. I mean, you talk about linchpins in this game. If Matt Stafford can't hang with Tom Brady, forget about it. It doesn't matter. Like you've got nice weapons in the wide receiver core, but if if he can't handle the pressure, if he can't go blow for blow with Brady, because Brady can, this is it. I mean, that's the end of it. So you traded for Stafford for this reason. He's got to come through.
Here you are.
He has to. So I think it's pivotal for them to hit this point.
It's not a performance-enhancing drug. Okay, I wasn't sure. Well, Rodgers was saying he might boycott the Super Bowl anyway. So now I guess he doesn't have to worry about boycotting it because he'll be home, right?
Oh man, football. That's
pretty good.
An awesome comment. That's great. Well, he doesn't have to worry about that for ever again, because I don't know what's going on with him, but wherever, if he stays, if he goes, it's going to be a mess.
Yeah.
No matter.
I did wonder, like, was his toe? Did he re-injure his toe yesterday? I mean, that ground was concrete. I mean, was he in pain? I don't know. I mean, after the first drive, I thought it was over. I thought Green Bay was going to run through the whole thing, and then they couldn't do a thing after that. So.
Yeah, no, you're right. I watched that when they walked right down the field without any.
Yeah, I was like, "This is too easy."
It's like
too easy. Yeah.
This is going to get out of hand, and then all of a sudden, that defense was like, "All right, that's enough of that." So, but yeah, this game's going to be a really fun one to watch. Like you said, Stafford's going to be a huge point of this point of emphasis for them to win. But then I also agree with what you said with Aaron Donald has to disrupt Tom Brady. And I've talked about it with John, and I've talked about it for the last 2 years now, is you want to stop Tom Brady, you hit Tom Brady. Like, that's it. Like, once Brady gets rattled, he's a different quarterback. And they have the defensive line to rattle him. And that's, to me, if I'm the Rams, I am getting in Tom Brady's head, and I'm putting him on the ground, and I'm going to make sure that he loses this game because we got in his head and stopped him. And that's going to be huge.
You got Von Miller for that reason too, right? So you got both guys there. I mean, you got to put pressure on him.
You do. You have to knock him down. You have to hit him. Even if you're not getting sacks, you have to put him on the ground. You know, just get that little bump and knock him down, just to let him know, like, hey, I was that close. You got to go faster, type of thing, just to stay in his head. But then on the other side, I think Gronk is going to be, he's got to be a monster in this one. He's got to be. Yeah. He's got to be that binky, as John likes to say, for Brady, and just pressure's coming, dump off to Gronk and let Gronk rumble down the field and pick up first downs. I mean,
and he always does. Somehow he throws it back shoulder, he throws it just over the defensive back's head, and Gronk goes up and gets it. It's just incredible. I mean, they have it down pat. I mean, they've been doing it so long, and the quick slant right over the middle. He's in the slot. Boom, touchdown. Yeah.
I don't think you could say they have it down pat anymore. It has to be they have it down buck.
Oh, down buck. Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Pat fans. Sorry, Shane.
I think it still stings a little bit. They don't want to admit it, but it still stings a bit. So, all right. So this game, who do you have pulling this one out?
I think that it's a close game. Like I said, I could see 40-38 Tampa Bay. I'm going to say Tampa Bay wins at home. Last minute, last position. Oh, take the over. Tampa Bay.
You're going high. 48 over Tampa by 3 is the line right now. So
it is. So it's a push. Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna. Jeez, this game is tough. This is tough.
I told you the Rams screwed me 3 times this year, so I'm not. What is this?
I don't know. I'm gonna go with the Bucks as well. I think it's just.
I think you're going Rams. Okay.
No, I'm really torn on this one. It's going to be close, but it's a playoff game. If it comes down, if it's as tight as we're thinking, score wise, and Brady gets the ball, you still can't bet against the guy, right? So I'm going to give it to the Bucks. I'm going to say it's a close one, and I'm going to give it the home field. Maybe I don't know. How's the temperature down there today? You're in Tampa.
It's actually cold.
Really?
Well, it's cold for them.
Cold relative.
For people that live here. Yeah. I mean, it's like in the 50s. Oh. It's in the 50s, which means everybody's got parkas on.
Right.
But no, it's actually overcast. It's a little breezy. There's a chill. I mean, but it's not a Florida summer sunny hot day.
Right. Okay. Well, that's not going to bother Brady or Gronk anyway. They're used to
No, they don't care.
way worse.
But
than that. So
what about the Rams? Maybe it bothers them.
that's true. LA is very nice this time of year. So
Yes.
yeah, maybe it's a little chilly for Matt Stafford. I don't know, but yeah, I'm going to go with the Bucks as well. I think it's going to be a very close one. Kind of the same as you. It's going to come down to last possession type of thing, and either the defense stops them or Brady scores type of situation to win it at the end. He's just too good at that 2-minute drive. That's the thing. All right, and then finally, Bills traveling to the Chiefs. This game, I mean, both of these games are going to be super exciting to watch. I'm not, but this one in particular, I mean, the hype for this is going to rival the Super Bowl. Or it might surpass it at this point. Like these two teams right now are firing on all 8 cylinders, right? I mean, there's just the offenses are cruising. The Bills defense, and like Jeremiah said, like the Bills played one of the most perfectly balanced games against the Patriots last week that you've ever seen. And even John said like there wasn't a team in football that was going to beat the Bills last week. Plug any team in for the Patriots and they get blown out. Like the Bills just played a perfect game. And is that now the culmination of their season, everything coming together? Or was that just a home game, super hyped, played up, and then is this the inevitable letdown?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be fun to watch. I mean, right, they're in KC, and I thought maybe John was going to come out with his Buffalo face paint on, but I guess not. I thought that's why he was running late. I thought he was going to do the blue and red, and
naturally.
Maybe they lost a bet.
Yeah.
Today is game, so he's out. He has to find a way to take Diggs out, and then in turn, to me, Beasley and Knox have to have big games. Knox has been the guy that to a lot of touchdowns in the red zone.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be Allen running the ball a lot too. Right? To me, those are some of the things that I think for Buffalo, for them to win this game, I think it's going to be Allen running, having more yards than Singletary rushing, right? And Beasley and Knox having more catches than Diggs, because they have to take Diggs out. They can't let Diggs beat them. Yeah. And I think,
but nobody's been able to do that.
Well, I know, but I mean, Spagnuolo has to come up with some kind of plan to do it, and then I think Knox ends up with probably the most targets and receptions today on the team.
Wow, so you think it's going to be a big tight end game?
I do. I think it has to be. I think it's going to be him running a lot. I don't think Singletary is going to have more yards. I think he'll have more yards than Singletary rushing.
Wow.
So there you go. There's a prediction for it.
Yeah, that is a good prediction. And I mean, you look at the line right now, 54 over under. So Vegas is expecting fireworks in this game. Yeah. And they have no idea who's going to win this game because Kansas City's a 1-point favorite.
Yeah.
So I mean, this game, sure, everybody is saying could go either way. I mean, the Chiefs are they do get the home field, but and Mahomes he's looking good. Everything seems to be pretty good, and especially when you look at years past, the last couple years, it's been Hill, Kelsey, Mahomes. Like that's the trio. But this year, it's not been that situation. I mean, he is going everywhere. Pringle. What's his name?
It Perryman?
Yeah. No, that's in. Mecole Hardman.
Percy.
Yeah, I mean every receiver, receiver he's got on this team, he's hitting them, which is incredible. The running game has picked up as well without Clyde Edwards-Helaire, which I've said he's an overrated running back to begin with, but without him, they actually look better. Jared McKinnon's healthy and he's really looking good when the ball's in his hands, as we were talking about last week, and he looked. He's looked great. I mean, and he was a great receiver in Minnesota, great receiving back in Minnesota. Unfortunately, I don't know if Jeremiah's still here, but he did go to He did go to the city, and
the Bay,
the city, to San Francisco, and just riddled by injury. But that's like the running back story in San Francisco, to be completely you look at year in and year out, it's just decimated running back rooms. It's almost it's the Madden curse, which is kind of appropriate since it's his. Yeah, but the Madden curse has gone to the running back room in San Francisco. So, but he was really hyped up, signed for a lot of money. Thought they were getting that great running back receiver combo there, but he's really shown what he can do in Kansas City. So this game is going to be, I mean, you just flip a coin on this one and just go with it, or?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't. What's the weather? Did you see the weather in KC today? I didn't look
on this. It says 35 and partly cloudy. So just a
rain
nice,
or slop.
Nice football day. Yep. So no elements.
So thinking about it now, I wonder if this, and I don't know if we've had any games like this before, but this could be a playoff game where both quarterbacks lead the team in rushing.
Yeah.
Because Mahomes can take off too.
Yeah.
And Mahomes is great for these 12-yard, get the first down, get out of bounds, and do a couple of those, and maybe he runs for 50, 60 yards. And Allen do the same thing. So it could be where both guys lead their team in rushing. And yeah, I think you have to think it's going to be a high-scoring game, right? Both teams can put up points. KC's defense can be suspect and give up points at times, even though, Spagnuolo's going to be dialing up blitzes and stuff to try and get to Allen. Yeah. But yeah, could this be another kind of 38-35 game? Absolutely. I mean, it could be something like that. I don't think it's going to be a 41-10 kind of thing. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. So yeah, I mean, I think both of these games could be similar in the scoring, in the final scores, even. Maybe even the same number. Both games is a 35 in what it scores or something like that. Because I think the points are going to be up today. Where yesterday was a little bit lower, but I think today is going to be the highest scoring games.
Wow. Yeah. I do completely agree with that overall. So I'm going to say for this one, I'm going to take the Bills to go to the championship game. I think they're going to pull it off. I think what it's actually going to come down to is which defense is better, and I'm going to give it to the Bills. I think the Bills' defense overall has been playing much better and is better. And it's going to be hard. I mean, Mahomes is still going to do his Mahomes thing. He's going to put up points. He's going to make it a game. But I just have a feeling that Bills' defense is just going to it's going to become too much for Kansas City. And I don't know if they can stop Josh Allen long enough compared to what the Bills defense is. So give me the Bills moving on. And I think it's exactly like you said, somewhere 38-35, 35-31. I think that's the correct area. But the way the Bills teams played, I do disagree. I do think it could be a 35-10 game if the Bills defense plays like they did last weekend. I mean, they could shock the world and just shut the Chiefs down and blow them out. They really could. But Mahomes is talented enough, and that offense is talented enough to not let that happen. But there is a possibility.
That I think Buffalo goes there and wins, and the reason I think they do is I think they want it more.
Yeah,
I think they want it more because they didn't get it last year. KC's been in years, and KC has shown signs of kind of inability, right? I mean, drop balls, and it's just been things where they're a little bit sloppy, and maybe they're not, mentally dialed in as much as they should be. And I think Buffalo is going to go in there with a game plan, and they want it. They're hungrier, and I think that leads them to getting over the hump and winning in KC, in Arrowhead, which is hard to play in. I mean, that's a frenzy there, and the crowd, everybody's gonna be red in those stands, and right, they don't sell their tickets like the Cowboy fans do, and it's half. It's half. What would they play? San Fran, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was half red, and the Cowboys even put a thing out saying, "Please don't sell your tickets to San Fran fans." Sorry, fans.
Yeah,
Some of the Bay fans, but KC, I don't see doing that. I don't think they're going to be on their tickets. They're going to be there to be loud and support the team. But I think Buffalo, and I hope they do. I'd like to see Buffalo move on. Yeah.
All right, well, that's going to be fun. So that'll lead us to a Bills-Bengals game, which should be a home game for the Bills, and kind of what a lot of people want to see. And I wouldn't be surprised if the NFL makes sure that this happens. Is a Tom Brady, Jimmy Garoppolo championship game matchup, which is going to be that's going to be juicy. That is going to be juicy. That the storylines there, but two great matchups, and even thinking about the Bills' path to the playoffs, or the AFC path to the playoff, is rough. I mean, that road, you've got to go through the Chiefs, the Bengals, the Bills, the Titans. Those four teams are just powerhouses, and you know, just to advance through those games is big. And then whoever comes out from the Bills Bengals game, I mean, those are two tough games to get through to get to the championship, as opposed to, I feel like the NFC side is actually a lot softer. So,
which is surprising.
We'll see how it plays out, because we thought the beginning of the year the NFC was the powerhouse and the AFC was the weakness, and now it's looking like it's completely flipped. So we'll definitely see how this one plays out. But they're going to be a fun couple of games today, guys. So definitely get some good snacks, whatever you like. Get some drinks, get some snacks, sit down and enjoy some what should be very exciting playoff football.
Playoff football. Yep. Yeah.
It's almost over.
Good stuff.
It's almost over. So
it's crazy, isn't it?
Yes. I don't like it. But it is what it is. We'll still have plenty of stuff to talk about. I mean, there's Giants moves being made. You got a new GM, which is good. Yeah. Now he's got to go get his coach. Either it's going to be he's going to pick more from the Bills side, or that's going to be the big thing. Is he going to take Brian Daboll out of, bring that offensive coordinator down, or is he going to go after Flores and bring Flores up? Like a lot to talk about on the Giants front. We definitely have to do a team breakdown. Oh, Mark, thank you. I've been stalling.
There he is.
I've been stalling, waiting for him to get here. 38. He's going lower than we. Yeah, 38-35 was the prediction. But yeah, Bills. So that's 3 Bills. But anyway, we'll definitely get into some team breakdowns. Talk about what the teams need to do. We'll have some draft previews to take a look at, which is going to be really fun, even though this draft is not going to be what last year's was. Last year's was incredible with the talent that came out. This year it's going to be all offensive linemen and and defense in this one. So not the huge quarterback, wide receiver, tight ends, all that good stuff, but still players that are going to make teams a lot better. And John, Jim, you and I both have two top 10 picks in this draft. John's sitting on the outside there, closer to the 20s, where he's going to get another terrible player to add to that team. And hopefully next year our teams elevate and start climbing out of this.
Stay healthy and stay healthy.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, Jets and Giants. I don't know what's in the water down there, but the Jets were decimated by injury. Giants were decimated by injuries. Just a very, very rough season for us overall, but hopefully these picks turn into something that we can actually start building a team off of, God willing. We'll see how this one plays out. But in the meantime, we will enjoy some awesome football, and then hopefully, like I said, we get to see our teams back in it sooner rather than later, because
that's right.
It's getting rough. But anyway.
Hey, Mark, good luck today. We're pulling for your teams if you're listening.
Yeah, I know he's planning on losing Brian Daboll this year. So
Trubisky
and Trubisky. Can you imagine if Trubisky's your quarterback next year? That's going to be
maybe backup.
Hopefully backup, right? I mean, that's going to be rough. But got one more shot, Daniel Jones. Got one more shot, and then he becomes relegated to the carousel of backup quarterbacks in the NFL, which is still a nice paying job. Really is. I think that's actually more of the sought after job. Like, you don't get hit. There's no pressure. You make $3 million a year.
Nice.
Carry the clipboard, give the guy a high five after he throws a touchdown, and then sit back down again. Travis, that is a whole 2 hours episode, I think, on its own, of what the Jaguars are going to do like that. Oh, God, I
How
can't.
about that?
Man, I know I feel your pain, and I know Jim feels your pain just as much. I mean,
Yeah.
it's what a rough season overall. It's really I don't know I don't even know where the Jags go because I know they're talking about taking defense, but to me, you need to protect Trevor Lawrence. So you have to. If it's me, I'm going with the offensive lineman from Alabama. Give him some protection. Make sure that your superstar stays a superstar, or at least has it. But Russ, you can't beat the Jaguars. They climbed out of the basement and smacked you into it in that last game.
That was
It was
incredible.
that was crazy. Uh, that should have been a slam dunk, but couldn't do it. After they go in and just
Everybody took 'em.
manhandled the Patriots and then lose back to back to the Raiders and the Jaguars to not get into the playoffs. That's mind blowing, just mind blowing. But the Jaguars own the Colts. There are no Colts allowed in Jacksonville. Just they have no horses. It's incredible. So
Yeah.
probably cows and I don't know peacocks or something, but and Jaguars obviously. But yeah, that was the Jaguars have a lot of work to do. The Jets have a lot of work to do. The Giants have a lot of work to do. I mean, we've got a lot, but good draft picks, a lot of money to spend. Well, not the Giants, but the Jets and Jaguars have a lot of money to spend, and we need health. All of us. We need a healthy team, and definitely two really good coaches. You guys have got to hit on your coach, especially Jacksonville. But with all the talent that the Giants have on defense and on offense, man, you got to bring the right coach in to really capitalize on it. And Jacksonville, after that Urban Meyer debacle, just disaster, not debacle, disaster. You guys got to find the right quarterback coach to bring in to help Trevor Lawrence develop because now he's a year behind, bringing in a new system. But oh my God. Yeah. I do think Neil would be really good. So, what happens to Jones with the Giants? Now we haven't discussed it yet, but I mean we could.
Yeah.
I mean we don't have a game starting in 2 minutes ago, so
Yeah.
we can BS for a little bit now.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of talk. I mean, there's been talk about do the Giants go after Baker Mayfield? Do we go after, if Flores comes in, does he bring Deshaun Watson with him? If Buffalo brings Trubisky with them. I mean, so it's really going to depend on what happens with the coach, who comes in, who gets hired, and then which way they want to go. To me, I think, Jones hasn't been healthy the last 2 years, right? He's been banged up. He's had that hurt him. But I know a lot of people on here don't think he's the future, and I'm kind of he's good, but that's not often. So yeah, I'm curious to see what they decide. I mean, we'll see what the new coach says, and I'd love to get Rodgers or even Wilson was in it about coming out here, right? So I don't know. I think his wife wants to move to New York and help her career, and he wants to be in the metro area, and he'd love to come to the Giants too. So there's a lot happening, probably more than I remember happening with a Giant quarterback this offseason. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, and even if you go with Daniel Jones, I mean, hopefully, next year you should have what's his name, Bryce Love coming out from Alabama, I'm guessing. Next year,
another receiver. Yeah. Receivers again.
That would be something, wouldn't it? But I don't know where you'd put him. But I mean, eventually you got to hit one that works, right? I mean, it's been rough, but I mean, I imagine if you stick with Daniel Jones again, and this is where it gets tough for me. Logically thinking is you're bringing in a new GM, you're bringing in a new coach, and this is the same situation the Jets had, not the GM, but bringing in a new coach going into Sam Darnold's final year as a quarterback. Like, why do you waste that if you're not 100%? You know what I mean? Why do you waste that year? Because as a coach, your tenure is really just as short as a quarterback's. If you fail in the first 3 years, you're likely gone. So are you going to waste a year on the end of a contract on a quarterback that you're not sold on, that hasn't proven that he can be elite, right? So you bring a quarterback in, you've got a 3-year window to show some serious growth, or you're most likely out. Are you going to waste a year on Daniel Jones? are you going to try and find something that you could build a team with and secure your job and start to form something, right? Because
Right.
it's that the leash is short on coaches and quarterbacks nowadays.
Mhm. Right.
You don't get very much leeway.
Mhm.
So that's
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
curious. I'd be curious to be in those meetings and see, as they're interviewing these new head coaches, what they feel about the quarterback position. Right? Are they
Yeah.
like, yeah, we've been watching Jones, we're behind.
Uh-oh. You froze up. Where'd he go? Think think we lost him. Let me close him out there for a second. We'll see if he comes back. But or it's my side. Let me know. Am I look okay for whoever's still watching? Is it freezy or jumpy, or is it just is it just Jim? I think it's going to be very interesting to see what goes on with that. That's going to be a tough situation for the Giants, I think, as well. But Russ, like you said, I don't think you want to give the Jags fans anything to cheer about to knock you out. But I mean, these coaches coming in, they are in such a tight situation. It's really it's unfair. We talked about it. Quite a bit less. Oh, both of us? You're fine. Jim was not. That's really weird, but we'll see if he jumps back in real quick. These coaches are going to be really. It's a tough situation. Like the Jets last year, a lot of people were saying, keep Sam Darnold, get him protection, get him some weapons. Well, Sam Darnold had a shitty year, right? Just like he did the 3 years before that. So now you would be stuck in your second year as a head coach, now having to draft a quarterback out of this draft class, which is terrible. It looks like, it's an extremely thin quarterback class, and you would have passed up an opportunity to get a quarterback in a great class last year. So that was my argument against it, was go ahead and cut your losses now, start fresh with a quarterback that has more talent than you would get this year in this year's draft. So it puts you in the situation to where you're going to waste a year with Sam Darnold, then have to take a lower tiered quarterback coming out of the draft and try and make something happen in 2 years with him, maybe 3 years if things are going well, but you're going to get a 4-year window at most to show that you've got something and that you're building something. And that's hard to do when you're wasting years on quarterbacks that aren't as good as they should be. So the Giants are going to be in that same situation this year. Whichever coach they bring in, they're either keeping Daniel Jones for a year and hoping he turns into something, or you're drafting a quarterback in a weak class and wasting a high pick on it because they've got 2 top 10 picks. So you've got to grab a quarterback with one of those picks if you're going quarterback. Let's see if we're fixed. Are we good?
I don't know.
There we go. You got so upset that you just completely froze it up. I guess
So it went off.
Yeah, I guess Russ is saying you've been cutting in and out for like 30 or 35 minutes. So we'll have
Oh,
to
really?
see. Yeah.
Oh, great.
So so that's good. But
Thanks for the heads up.
Yeah, I filled in the gap for you there,
Good.
so you could finish up with what you think the Giants will do with their quarterback situation.
Finish up with what I think they should do. I mean, it depends on who's available. I think. I mean, Jones, I've been a fan of, but hasn't been able to do it. Hasn't been able to stay healthy. Could we bring in? I think about what could we do with our weapons if we had Russell Wilson, if we had Aaron Rodgers, right? I mean, we talked about in the preseason. I wouldn't want Baker here, but Russell running and getting the ball, and if we can protect him, what could he do? Yeah, I think you'd have to look at that, and I think it would be a package that would include him and probably Evan Ingram and picks, and we go for a quarterback that maybe he's going to play. Was he got another 4 years, maybe? Right, probably at the high end, I would think.
Russell,
I don't know if he's got 5 years more in him, but it might be worth the next 3 or 4 years that we go with him, and if he's available and he's open to the trade, and but it's going to depend on. I don't think I want Deshaun Watson here. Nope.
Yeah,
I don't want to
you
bring
don't know
him
what's
in.
going to happen.
No. I mean, if Flores comes, I think it's a package deal, and
yeah, but you've got to have something from the NFL saying we're going to let him play,
yeah,
unless he's put in jail. type of situation. Like you got to have some kind of a reassurance before you go and get him, because it's huge. But you're giving up both of those first round picks to get one of those
Yeah.
three quarterbacks. I think it's going to demand that type of a move for that caliber of a quarterback. And I mean that's a hefty price to pay. Two top 10 picks that's a lot of talent. But I mean,
Yeah,
without a
I know.
quarterback, it doesn't matter, right? So
Right. What is the difference? What's
Right.
the difference? Right. We
So-
were playing with Glennon half the year. I mean, come on.
yeah,
You know,
right.
I mean,
Doesn't matter if you
we
have an
no
offensive
chance.
lineman and
No.
a
No.
linebacker
Nothing
in
matters.
the top two, the top 10 picks when you
Yep.
can't throw the ball at all. And that's Mark had another. That's a good question from Mark. Like, what do you do with Saquon? Do you capitalize
right.
on what he can be and move him, or is he somebody you're saying, hey, he's going to get better moving forward, and we've got to build something around him, and we're going to give him a 3-year extension if he takes that type of thing? Or like, what do you just break it all down?
I think, he wants to stay here, right? He wants to stay here. I know there's been some talks. I'm sure Mark would like him up there and finally have a running back.
Oh man, that would be
There's been some
scary.
talks about Buffalo. I know there's been talks about Buffalo trading for or getting Barkley. So yeah, I think if the situation's right, I think we move him. I mean, the last 2 years he hasn't been on the field. He's not what he was when he first came in as a rookie, and in the first few years he was in the league. I think if the package is right, we move him. Yeah, and Buffalo is one of the teams that would take him.
Yeah. Well, but then that leads to a bigger thing. Which direction are you going? Because if you're going to trade multiple
Right.
picks to bring Watson, Wilson, Rogers in, and then you're going to get rid of your arguably most talented player when he's healthy, what are you doing?
Right.
So this has got to be
Right.
the point to where this coach comes in and says, "Hey, we're either going to try and build on this, or we're taking it down to the floor and rebuilding this thing from the ground up." Because there's a lot of talent there, and if you want to move
Right.
it, if they want to move those players, there's a lot of draft picks coming back to the Giants to start a rebuild. Like if you're moving Bradbury, if you're moving Galladay, if you're moving Barkley, even Ingram would probably get you a 5th round pick from somebody the way he
Right.
played. Maybe talk somebody into a 4th, because he does have a lot of talent. He just
Right.
maybe it's the wrong scene. But I mean, the Jets traded Chris Herndon to the Vikings for a 5th round pick, and he's fucking terrible. So I can imagine you should be able to talk somebody into giving
Right.
you a 3rd round pick for Evan
Something.
Ingram, right?
Right.
So
or he's in a package deal with Daniel Jones or something, right? I
Yeah.
think it'll be something like that if they're going to move him. Or what if it was a deal with Jones and Barkley, right?
Yeah.
For a
Like a first?
quarterback, or I mean, no, I mean if we were going to swap out with Russell or somebody, or
yeah, I think you're
take a 3rd for Barkley. I mean,
a 3rd,
That's-
probably maybe like a conditional.
yeah, it
conditional up
could
to a
be. I mean,
second?
it's hard to just it is hard to just give up on him, right? But I mean, is he ever going to be the same? I mean, that's the question. I mean, is his knee and his ankle, and he hasn't been 100% this year.
No.
Even when he came back, he's just been kind of a shell of what he was. Yeah, I don't know.
I think
don't
you
know.
could do a conditional 3rd with player with incentives to get to a 2nd. Play time incentives to get up to a 2nd round pick.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, something like
it
that.
just he's an injury prone running back now that may never see what you saw in
Right.
his rookie year again. And
That's
it's
right.
sad to think that
Right.
2019 draft looked like last year's, like, comparatively.
Mm-hmm.
It was loaded. Baker, Barkley, Darnold. I mean, you thought you had slam dunks there in these players. And
No.
and yeah, now you look at it 4 years later, Darnold's moved on, looks terrible. Baker's about to lose his job. Barkley can't stay on the field. It's like
Yeah.
you just never know where it's going to
It's
go.
a tough
But
sport.
man, when it comes to which way the Giants are going to be fun to track this offseason,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's really going to be like, how does this coach and GM want to move forward with this team? It could be.
Right.
I don't know what the right answer is. There's a lot of talent there.
There's a
need
lot of
quarterback.
pieces to work with. Yeah, we have a lot of
Yeah.
pieces to work with. If everyone's on the field, everyone's healthy, we have a good team. It's
With
just
a
it
quarterback.
hasn't been that. Yeah, it just
You
hasn't
need
been
a
that.
quarterback.
Yes, yes.
And
Right.
who's
So
it
what
going to
do we
be?
do? Right.
Do you go all in and get that quarterback?
Mm-hmm.
Trade away 3 first round draft picks because it's
Mm-hmm.
probably going to take your two first rounders this year and probably your
Yep.
first rounder next year to get like a Deshaun Watson. So, or do you break it down and have 15 draft picks this next couple years and just
Yep.
load it with youth and go all over again.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? The carousel
That's right.
just keeps going. You know
That's
what I
right.
mean? So,
Mm-hmm. So actually, that's a good question Mark has there, because I even think about baseball with this, with conditioning, and how many guys get hurt, how many teams
yeah,
just, there's been teams where years where the Yankees are decimated too, all kinds of obliques and this and that, and just and they're not. I think it does come down to the conditioning coaches, where some teams they go all year and they may lose a guy here on some freak injury or whatever, but
right.
nothing with these soft tissue injuries and poles and
Hmm.
things that maybe you can do a better job preparing for. So yeah, I think it does come down to what programs are the coaches, conditioning coaches, running and
Yeah,
preparing the teams to stay healthy.
and they put a lot of I know from the Jets perspective they've put a lot of emphasis into that, and it kind of worked this year because they
Hmm.
put the emphasis on strengthening knees so that they don't have ACLs,
Yeah.
MCLs, PCL tears, stuff like that.
Hmm.
But now what happened this year? Carl Lawson, Achilles. Marcus May, Achilles. You know what I mean? Like a lot
Yeah.
of other injuries. Like I don't think we
Hmm.
had a torn ACL in out of the
Yeah.
entire year.
Hmm.
But now you've lost guys to Achilles and other lower leg elements.
Right.
Well, I should say Becton did go down with that knee injury that required surgery, but he didn't tear anything
Hmm.
because it was supposed to be an at most 8-week injury that he missed the entire season with in week
Yeah.
1, which is a whole nother issue. But I mean, yeah, you have to take strength and conditioning into it, but how do the teams not know what to do at this point? This is not a new
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
You
I
think
mean,
you
yeah,
would
it's just
know.
like anything else. I think people have their ideas on what everybody should be doing. And
Yeah.
probably there's some players that have maybe their own trainers or whatever, and they
Yeah.
have different ideas and doing different things. And um,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
tough.
it is. I don't know if you ever really, it's surprising to see a team that, if it is 90%, I think that's just the number he's throwing out. But I mean, it is amazing to see a team, especially in the NFL, that can make it most of the season healthy. Because
Yeah.
normally that's not the case. You just,
No.
unless you're Eli Manning, where you play your whole career until you get benched at the end for no reason.
Right, right.
But Cal Ripken kind of thing. But
Yeah. Yeah, you don't
yeah,
see it very often.
no, you'll never see.
But
That's a record that never be broken. Cal Ripken. Come on.
no.
After 3 days,
No.
like, oh, he needs a rest. Come on, he needs a rest. He's playing second base in the
Right.
major leagues. What's he going to
Right.
rest for?
Oh, it's all the time. That
Yeah.
game, I remember watching that Cal Ripken Jr. game. They brought it on because he wasn't, and I was just praying. I was like, dude, just go out there for one at bat and
Mhm.
just play third for one at bat. I don't care
Mhm.
if the ball's hit to you, just let it go by and then trot back off and then get
Mhm.
back out there and keep it going. Like a streak
Yeah.
like that.
Oh yeah.
And then
That's incredible.
I actually, this was back when I was a kid still, I read like his whole autobiography that he put out, which is probably much more detailed now.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
it was incredible, like reading some of the stuff that he did just to keep the streak going. And I think the streak was still going when I read this book. So, but there was a couple times earlier on where he like had a high ankle sprain, and he said like he stayed up all night, and every hour they were doing hot and cold treatments on and off all day, all night, all up to the next game
Wow.
to try to get him ready. And it was just like an hour of heat therapy, an hour of cold therapy, an hour of heat therapy. Stayed up all night just working his ankle to try to get it, and taped it up, and he was able to play and keep the streak going. And it's like, man, after all of that, like, and this was,
Early
3,000,
on.
3,100 and
31-21 or
some crazy. Like, after all that, like I would go out there with one foot to keep it
yeah.
going. Like,
Yeah.
you're not taking me off the field till I
Mhm.
retire. Like that will be when the streak ends, when I
Mhm.
retire. Not,
Right.
after that. Mm-mm.
Well, I think he played like 500 more games after that too. That was he didn't
it
end
wasn't
it at
the
that.
end.
I think you ended with like 3,600 or something, or
Yeah.
I don't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, it was a lot. He should have, like I said, I would have hobbled back out there. I would have sat
Yeah,
on third base for a one at bat and then went back in just to
yeah.
keep the consecutive games going. Like,
I remember there was an All-Star game and they were posing for a picture, and I think it was a Detroit Tigers pitcher, like his last name was Hernandez or something like that. As they were like standing, the whole team was doing a team photo for the All-Star game. He slipped, and when he slipped, his hand went back and punched Ripken in the nose and like broke his nose, or his nose was bleeding, and he thought, "Oh my god, like am I going to ruin the streak?" And luckily, Ripken just put some tissues in there, or whatever, and he was fine. He actually played this was before the All-Star game, like right before it. And then I don't remember what year that was, probably in the early 90s or something, because I think he broke the streak in like 95 or something.
90,
It was around
95, 96.
Yeah, it was around there. So it was probably early 90s where his name was like, I want to say Will Hernandez or something, but yeah, Detroit. I think he was a Detroit Tiger pitcher, and he slipped on the bleachers, and his fist punched Cal Ripken. You looking it up, or you doing something else?
I'm trying to look it up. Yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah, it was. Hernandez is staying in my head for some reason. Let's see.
Well, first off, it was September 6, 1995 is when he broke the record, and then let's see, 1998. We were way off.
Oh,
So
really?
broke it in 95, ended September 20th, 1998 was the end of the streak.
Oh, look. So 96, Ripken breaks nose before All-Star game.
96.
And who
So yeah,
was the guy?
the year after, the year after he
It was
broke the
Hernandez. Wow, the guy's name was Hernandez. Huh?
Oh,
That's good when I find out my brain's still working.
that is good. Congratulations. Congratulations. That's good. at your
Anyway,
old
how the hell
age.
are we talking about baseball anyway?
I don't know. That's why I love sports so much. But all right, let's call it with that. Definitely, like Cal Ripken streak, this show also must come to an end. So we'll wrap it up with that and enjoy some playoff football. And we'll be back to recap these games, preview the championship games, and see who's going to the Super Bowl. So enjoy these games, have a lot of fun, and we will see you guys next week. So for Jim, for John, somewhere in Arkansas, and thank you again, Arkansas. Thank you again to Jeremiah for jumping on with us, talking some 49ers. Do appreciate all of our guests, and I appreciate all you guys for jumping in the chats and talking with us each and every week. You guys make it the most fun. So thank you all. Have a great Sunday, and we'll see you guys on the next